So like one of the questions I had, I think we'll start with you, Dr. Marie, is what's the best way to structure content so AI crawlers or AI search engines can parse it or understand it? So is it API accessible documentation? Is it JSON endpoints? Is it machine readable assets? Like, is there things we need to do differently on the website so it's AI friendly versus HTML coding?
I think it depends on what type of content you have. So if you have an e-commerce site, then schema is super important. You want uh, both AI and search engines to be able to understand all of the content, the specific things about the dimensions, the things that users expect to find. For the vast majority of content, the schema, the markup is not as important as the words on the page. So you need to use language that is easy for machines to parse. And so that means being direct, often concise in your answer. This is why sometimes we see that AI generated content can rank really well at first because it looks good to machines. Content that's written by machines looks good and is easy to understand by machines.
Yeah.
And then there's another factor to that, though, as well, with either search or with AI, is that those systems are constantly refining so that they're not just trying to find content that looks good to machines, but content that people like as well. And so you have to find the balance of something that is written in a way that it's easy for the machine to understand what our point is, and also something that humans like, because humans often can tell when something's written by AI and get turned off by that. And
Yeah.
so we have to find that balance. But and then there's all sorts of controversy over whether schema, does schema markup help you? And it turns out that, like, if you're looking at language models, they actually, when they're training on your content, strip away all of the markup and convert the text into tokens, numbered tokens. So I personally don't think that schema matters so much unless you have, again, e-commerce or something very specific. But if you're looking at just regular content and you're trying to meet user intent, then I like to use phrasing that makes it really clear, something that in the days of Google using featured snippets, I mean, they still do, but when featured snippets first came out, we wanted to create content that Google would be happy to use as a concise answer in a featured snippet.
Totally. Okay, Neil, I know you got data on this one. What do you think?
She's spot on. So we don't necessarily look at it as like the file type. It's actually more the text on the page. If you look at these models out there, they're crawling the web and gathering information just like a search engine would, right? Some of them have partnerships for data feeds, but it's more about the text on the page and what is the quality of the text on the page. It's not about an exact keyword and are you trying to optimize for that? It's more so think about a topic. Can you cover it very thoroughly? And when I mean thoroughly, I'm not talking about word count. Back in the day, SEO used to be about here are the 5 keywords that I'm going for on this page, and I have a 5,000 word article. It's more about here's the topic. I'm going to cover it very thoroughly so I can match the intent of the user, but I want to be concise with my answer and give it to them as quick as possible, but concise enough where they can get it fast, but they still don't have any more questions around that topic, right? Because if you're giving a forward response and it doesn't solve what the user is looking for, it doesn't matter. That's too concise. But at the same time, people don't need 2,000 words when they could have got it in 2 sentences.
Yeah, I get it. What do you think, Eli?
Yeah, I think technical SEO for AI is the same as it's ever been. One of the biggest challenges that Google solved 25 years ago was crawling the web faster, being able to do it cheaper than every one of their competitors. And that's why they survived. It wasn't just their ranking algorithm, it was the fact that they had the most complete index. And that's not something that any of these new AI products have solved better than Google. So if you want to be crawled by any of these crawlers, and they're all using crawlers, you need to follow those same best practices of having server-side rendered content, of having the content be cheap for the crawler to render. When there's scripts and there's complex things on the page, it is expensive and they will deprioritize it. Some people call that crawl budget, but it's really just the crawlers looking out for their own expenses. So those best practices still exist. Schema helps make it cheaper because they can, again, if they trust you, they can instantly recognize what it is. Is it e-commerce? Is it a service? Is it a product?
Mm-hmm.
So all those best practices remain the same. The only thing these LLMs are doing different are rendering responses differently. but the way they're gobbling up the internet is the same. And if they have more resources, and right now there's a ton of money, they can do that faster and more frequently. As they run out of money, that's when they might do things like, I'll only visit this website once a month or once a year. So the frequency and the freshness of the content matter more for the engine than for the website. So you want to be accurate, and accurate to the point that if the crawler doesn't come back, and this gets complicated when you're of a, let's say, SaaS pricing. So if you have SaaS pricing and you update it frequently, the LLM won't necessarily have that updated pricing if it has not come back. Google does a really good job of knowing when to come back, and the LLMs have to solve that. If it's not Google, has to solve that, just like Google has solved it.